Hey Merfolk fans, I'm Joe. Thanks very much for joining me today. If you'd like to support my channel, please check out the link above to my Patreon page. I'm back with a replay of round 4 of a Modern Friendly League with Benthic Biomancer and a playset of Deprives in the main deck. Currently sitting at 3-0. The opponent won the die roll this time. That's the first die roll that I've lost in this whole league. And yeah, this is a pretty sweet looking opening hand. Ben is particularly strong with AEther Vial because, you know, we can play an AEther Vial past the turn on turn 2 with an AEther Vial on 1 and 2 mana up and potentially represent counter spells, Merfolk Trickster, or just an Adapt. Opponent kept, and we see a basic island into Serum Vision. So this could be Storm. It could be like some kind of control deck. Lord is pretty nice. So Island AEther Vial. The best Merfolk opening ever. Another Serum Visions. Nice and slow out of whatever this deck is. So, alright, blue-white control, maybe Jeskai, but blue-white is, I think, a little more popular at this point. Alright, Silvergill is pretty sweet. So we get to play Silvergill, and I'm just going to reveal Ben since I'm going to play that guy anyway with AEther Vial. And yeah, we've suddenly got a pretty nice board presence already between Mutavault, Silvergill, and the Ben that's in the pipeline here. And that second island that we drew off the Silvergill is pretty sweet too, in case we draw any Deprives. Opponent is Serum Visioning again. I guess I should probably be showing what the opponent is doing with these Serum Visions, but I don't know, sometimes it doesn't let me open the game log, so whatever, you guys can use your imagination, I guess. Alright, so, developing our board with Ben. Take the AEther Vial up to 2, that Deprive is pretty sweet. What is the line here? We'd rather not open ourselves up to any counter magic, though I think they only play like Logic Knot. I guess they could have some Mana Leaks. And we're really not too afraid at this point of anything that they could be doing. Let's just see. What did I do during this attack? Just punch for 3. We almost never want to bring in a creature on our turn against blue-white control with AEther Vial. We're just going to wait to see what they do and then deploy on their end step. Looks like I chose to pass with mana up, which is almost always going to be the correct line with Ben on the board and some kind of instant speed effect in our hand. If the opponent doesn't do anything that we want to counter, we get to untap with more power with Ben. Sort of take things at our own pace. All right, so now we're going to, as I mentioned, adapt Ben, and we'll see if the opponent wants to do anything about it in response. And it doesn't look like they do, so we're going to get to loot. Yeah, pretty sweet. Ben gets to pitch that extra AEther Vial. So now we have a 2/2, 1-drop, who's getting obviously buffed by a Lord up to 3, Island Walk, and now an AEther Vial has suddenly turned into a Spreading Seas, which might turn into something else, since it's just basically another cantrip effect in this matchup. It doesn't really screw any of the opponent's colors at this point. So with this Deprive in hand, we can get in a massive attack here. We can Vial in a Lord, and we're going to have 4/4/4 and 3. So I guess, right? 4/4/4 is 12, plus 3 is 15. And if the opponent wants to Cryptic us, they're going to have to tap that. So 15 takes him down to 2. That takes him down to 1. And then we can just lean on him. I mean, taking the opponent down to 1 is always, you know, what we want to do. So looks like that's what they're trying to do, and they probably don't expect the main deck hard counter. They might expect like a Spell Pierce, but we have the Deprive. And note that in this situation, Wizard's Retort would be just fine because we currently have 3 Wizards on the table between Mutavault, Silvergill Adept, and Ben. But we do have to pick up a land because Deprive says so. Vial in a Lord. Swing for 15. Take the opponent down to 1. And yeah, we just got to lean on him now. I think we'll just leave AEther Vial on 2 here. Master of Waves, another threat, can't complain. So I went to, start of combat, I expected maybe they were going to tap my team down again but they didn't. And there's a lot of, I guess, flex slots in blue-white control. And one of the cards that's often included in a flex slot is Settle the Wreckage, but it's kind of rare. Like Terminus is the go-to in the main deck, in conjunction with all of their scry effects. So I was pretty dumb here. I just attacked with everybody. I was thinking, well, maybe they're going to Path, Snapcaster, Path, and I can still like snap, block with Snapcaster, Path, and they'll still take 2. And the thing is, it's not the worst attack in the world. If they do have the Settle the Wreckage, which they did, I get to get 4 lands out of my deck, which significantly increases my chances of drawing gas. I still can vial in a Lord on their end step. I can still activate a Mutavault if they Cryptic. And we've got a Master, so I'm just going to throw the Master out here. And we'll see what they can do about this. So they don't make a land drop. And yeah, we'll just keep this Lord in hand. With them at 1 life, we really don't have to commit any more to the board at this moment. All right, so it's funny, the options we have here. Of course, I'll just play out the Spreading Seas and see what I draw first. But I can activate Mutavault and then hope that they just have a Path. If they have a Path, then one of my creatures gets through and I win. But if I activate Mutavault and then they Cryptic, they'll tap everybody. If I don't activate Mutavault and they Cryptic, they have to bounce Mutavault rather than drawing a card in order to not die. So I decided just to get in with Master. If they have the Path, again, they're at 1 life. Things are favoring us at this point. They do have the Path. Again, it's going to thin our deck. And again, we still have threats. We can vial in at the end step. They have to run out of stuff eventually. But we just keep drawing islands. So I am going to activate Mutavault here in case they have another Path, but it looks like they have the Cryptic here, so they do get to draw a card since I activated the Mutavault this time. Like a crapshoot. They drew the Field of Ruin for Mutavault. That's pretty decent. So I'll get another island out of my deck. And well, it looks like they're tapping out Kitchen Fink. Speaking of flex slots, this is going to gain them some life, but yeah, I have another Lord in my hand, so GG, blue-white player. I don't care what your Serum Visions show you. You're dead. And they scoop before we get to draw another island. So, yeah, pretty nice game 1. Let's see. Benthic Biomancer got to punch in for a bunch of damage. He looted away an AEther Vial. Pretty solid work from him. We had the main deck Deprive to let us get the opponent down to 1 life and then just lean. So yeah, new additions doing a great job in game 1 here. Let's go ahead and see how game 2 went. All right, we're back for game 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sideboard. Okay, so bunch of stuff to take out, bunch of stuff to bring in. Among the things that are not optimal for this matchup, we've got 4 Spreading Seas, obvious cuts. I can sometimes keep in an Echoing Truth in case they land like a Detention Sphere, but with all the counterspells that we're running, I would just expect to be able to counter any other big spells. Like, we don't really need the combo with Echoing Truth, especially with all of our flash stuff. We're going to be able to bring in creatures on the end step to, attack their planeswalkers or just threaten their life total. So I took out the main deck Echoing Truth, took out 4 Spreading Seas, took out the 2 Harbinger of the Tides. Like, I'm not bouncing Celestial Colonnade. It has Vigilance. It's not going to be tapped. And Kitchen Finks, don't really want to bounce that with Harbinger of the Tides. So, all in all, I took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and looks like I cut a Lord. I don't know if that's really correct. I kept in all of the Tricksters before cutting a Lord, and all of the Bends because they help us loot, which is pretty significant in this matchup where we want to really hit a couple of counter spells. With all the new cards in the deck, I'm going to have to be adjusting my sideboard strategy moving forward, like figuring out what stays and what goes in each matchup. But so let's count one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards out. And then I brought in the 2 counter spells, the 2 Vensers, the extra Vendilion Clique, and what else? 3 Relic of Progenitus. And that's about it. Got some graveyard hate, got some counter spells. Let's see how it went. Very, very, very nice hand. Opponent mulligans to 6. Plays a Celestial Colonnade. Speak of the devil. And yeah, the hand's just getting better. So let's get that Aether Vial ticking on the table. All right, Colonnade into Plains. Vial will go to 1. And yeah, this is like picture perfect here because we get to pass with Vial on 1. And if they play something we want to counter, we can deprive it. So it looks like they're stuck on 2 lands. So we don't have a ton of pressure, but we've got something. So this is going to be pretty amazing here. They didn't cast anything, so I didn't have to cast Deprive in response. And so we're going to adapt here. They're going to let it resolve. They don't path him in response. And yeah, there's more gas, and we get to throw away one of these extra islands. I mean, what more can you ask for out of a 1-drop? That is insane. I mean, I get to now untap with a 2/2, and it drew me a card in effect. So, man, it's really like a totally different league than any of the 1-drops we've had access to. Take the Aether Vial up to 2, and at this point, you know, we're going to get in. We don't want to commit on our turn. We want to wait till the opponent's turn. We've got lots of instant speed stuff between Aether Vial, Deprive, Trickster, Vendilion Clique. You know, we really want to work on the opponent's turn. So I think I'm going to play the island here, get this relic on the table, and leave up any number of things here. I can Vial in the Lord on their end step this turn, and then tick up Aether Vial to 3 so that Clique will be uncounterable on their turn. All right, so looks like they're going for Detention Sphere, most likely on Aether Vial, since it's a pretty valuable resource. And yeah, this is a perfect target for Deprive, especially since we know that they're sort of choked on mana. They're not going to get to Teferi anytime soon, probably. So we just want to maintain our board, chip away at their graveyard here, and yeah, Vial in a creature on their end step and continue attacking. This is a really beautiful example of how a tempo deck works against, you know, a control deck. Work at instant speed, draw your counter spells, chip in for significant amount of damage across, you know, the first handful of turns. We're going to pause them on their draw step and Vial in Clique. And we'll see what they have in their hand. Now, if they don't... Oh, well, the opponent just scooped at that point. I was going to say if they didn't draw land, we'd probably just let them keep whatever they have because we want to keep them short on lands. But just thinking about what they could have, I mean, if they had a Verdict in hand, that would be pretty solid. But even so, I guess we can just flash in a Trickster and keep the beats going. But if they had the Verdict, I would have been able to click it away. And even so, they needed to draw another land. So things worked out really, really well for us there. We had their graveyard under control. We were able to loot away stuff we didn't need for stuff that does help, like the Trickster there. And yeah, we drew 2 of our 6 counterspells. So many instant speed effects. If we look at all of our cards, the only thing that can't really work at instant speed is this Lord. So the deck has felt sort of, I don't know, reinvigorated. I mean, it's so light on its feet. Being able to do everything on the opponent's step, being able to improve our card quality with Ben and attack for more with him. I've been winning a lot, and matches have just felt easier than they have in the past. Also, some recent developments have been helping in other places, like running all of these islands. In the last league that I ran with Ben in the deck, with the Deprives, I won against a blue-white control player because they kept like 2 islands and a Field of Ruin, and they had no white mana, and they couldn't activate their Field of Ruin because they had all these islands. And that's exactly why we follow this strategy right now of playing all these islands, because there's so many Field of Ruin in the format. So yeah, the deck is feeling really, really tight. Just trying to make observations about how all the little pieces are working. I'm still really, really interested to see when, you know, the circumstances where I cast Deprive, when would Wizard's Retort be better? Like if I could have just cast this for 2 and not bounce a land like Deprive requires me to. That's still up in the air, but I'm making some interesting observations that I'll share with you guys in a future video. So yeah, now we're 4-0. It's been what, 8-whack, Amulet Titan, Titan Shift, and now Blue-White Control. We get to go to round 5 with a possible 5-0 in our future. So again, please let me know your thoughts down below. How do you think Ben is doing? What do you think about the main deck Deprives? And the whole instant speed strategy that we're following right now with this build. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please check out my Patreon page, and I'll see you guys in round 5. And hopefully, we get there. I'll see you there. Bye.